Hi there, yep, Great and Glorious Nick Dutch here yet again. Just wanna, I don't know if I've mentioned this before or not. No, I'm not gonna go through each and every single one of my videos and just double check, alright? I'm just thinking about like religious structures and religious societies and how they just seem to be, how they seem to operate. And yeah, this is kind of like trying to jump to conclusions. I don't want to. I don't normally like doing that. But in this case, I think it would make sense, bearing in mind, the subject of what I'm discussing here. Because in religious societies, there's usually, or there appears to usually be, like specific centers, specific institutions, which are dedicated to having people in them who are much more focused to the creation of the spiritual entity, because they're the ones who are doing much more prayer, meditating upon the stories of the people involved in the religious text, the concepts of God or the God and or whatever the higher being is, and thus giving them life. Now, within occultism, we would say that doing that for an extended period of time would actually have the effects of creating that being in the spiritual world. Or if that being already exists in the spiritual world, bringing that power to that particular place and to those particular people. And then from these things, which we might as well call monasteries, around them there would be all the other various parishes, which would have a slightly watered down version, but it would still be the same thing, still with some similar ideas, some similar symbols, some similar prayers, meditations, and the rest of it, and similar contemplations, thus to allow the condensed spiritual energy of the place, the egregor, to then spill out into the various regions. So therefore there becomes some like psychological and spiritual control. This is of course all just like occult theory. This is not hard and fast fact, but this is just what seems to happen, and I think you can see that in places like the eastern countries, you see that in the Middle East, you see that of course in the Western world, in nearly all religions. This does seem to be an important way in which religious groups function. So in each society there has to be some people who are perpetually recounting the stories of their deities, the concepts of their deities, using the symbolism of the religion and the symbolism of the divine being to make this being appear within the astral or spirit world. So if there is a new society with new religions emerging, they would have to take this into account as well, and there would still have to be a priest class who would be focusing purely upon doing all this ritual preparation and knowing all the stories and all the mythos and all the religious laws and all the rest of it, who would then impart it onto the other societies and communities. So that's something else which would need to be incorporated into the emerging faiths in the world to make them somehow stronger. I suppose it's similar in idea to like the idea of the yogic flyers having radiating some kind of like divine spiritual power. But I think this needs to happen much more effectively via the presence of a particular divine being. It just seems to be that way. This is just hypothetical stuff. I can't say that what I'm talking about it can be tested in a laboratory, but this does seem to be the way it is used. Just a bit of hypothetical rambling for you. I'll go into greater depth when I finally get around to finishing that bloody book I'm writing. Anyway, good fortune, God bless to one and all.